Hey, welcome to Grandpa's Underworld. Tonight we're going to start talking about the unethical human experimentation in the United States. It has been performed on human test subjects in America. These experiments were often performed illegally without the knowledge or informed consent from anyone. Such tests have occurred throughout American history, but more so in the 20th century. The experiments included exposing humans to chemical and biological weapons, such as infectious diseases, radiation experiments, injecting radioactive chemicals, surgical experiments, interrogations with torture, tests involving mind-altering substances, and lots of others. Many of these tests were performed on children, sick and mentally disabled, under the guise of medical treatments. In many of the studies, the subjects were poor, minorities, or prisoners. Funding the experiments was provided for by the United States government and the military, the CIA, or private corporations involved with the military. The research was highly secretive, and information about them was not released until many years later after the studies had been performed. In the 1840s, J. Marion Sims performed surgical experiments on women without anesthesia. In order to test one of his theories about the causes of trismus in infants, Simmons used a shoemaker's awl to move around the skull bones of babies. It has been claimed that he addicted the women in his experiments to morphine, only providing the drugs after surgery was already complete. In 1874, Mary Rafferty, an Irish servant woman, came to Dr. Robert Bartholomew for treatment of her cancer. He cut open her head and inserted needle electrodes into her exposed brain matter. He described the experiment as follows. When the needle entered the brain substance, she complained of acute pain in the neck. In order to develop a stronger reaction, the strength of the current was increased and her countenance exhibited great distress, and she began to cry. Then the left hand was extended as if in the act of taking hold of some object in front of her. The arm presently was agitated with a clonic spasm. Her eyes became fixed, with pupils widely dilated. Lips were blue, and she frothed at her mouth. Her breathing became strenuous. She lost consciousness and was violently convulsed on the left side. The convulsion lasted for 5 minutes. She returned to consciousness in 20 minutes and complained of some weakness and vertigo. In 1896, Dr. Arthur Wentworth performed spinal taps on 29 young children without the knowledge or consent of their parents at the Children's Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts, to discover whether doing so would be harmful. Okay. From 1913 to 1951, Dr. Leo Stanley, chief surgeon at the San Quentin prison, performed many experiments on hundreds of prisoners there. The experiments involved testicular implants. Stanley would take the testicles out of executed prisoners and put them into living prisoners. He attempted to implant the testicles of rams, goats, and boars into living prisoners. Stanley also performed eugenics experiments and forced sterilizations on prisoners. Stanley believed that his experiments would rejuvenate old men, control crime, which he believed had biological causes, and prevent the unfit from reproducing. Well, that's it from Grandpa's Underworld tonight. Hit the like button if you would, subscribe if you would please, hit the notification bell for when we do this more, and leave a comment if you'd like, and have a fabulous day.